All right, guys. Hiya. Welcome to our MDX live talk. My name is Rosie and I'm joined by three of my wonderful colleagues behind the scenes. Just before we start, just a couple of things to note. Do note that your microphone is muted, but you can ask any questions in the Q&A button during the workshop. We have got Nikki and Sophie who are behind the scenes. They've been working in education for a very long time. So if you do have any questions or you're not sure of something that we're saying, you can just ask them and they will be able to get back to you straight away. After this workshop, please do head to our UniBuddy live chat. This is where we're going to be online until 6:30 p.m. So again, if you've got any questions about anything, not just personal statements, but accommodation or student finance, anything like that, head there. Me and a bunch of uni experts are going to be there to answer all of your questions. Do note that this session is going to be recorded as well. So let's get started. I do have to admit my Wi-Fi is slightly slow, so I'm sorry if it does take a little time to go from slide to slide. All right, so welcome. As I said, my name's Rosie. I am an Education Liaison and Outreach Officer at Middlesex University. I'm joined by my colleague, Nat. If you want to introduce yourself, Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie, work in the Education Liaison team, and hopefully I'll be able to answer your questions today. Yeah,
Nat's also a bit of an education veteran as well. Any questions you have, she will be able to answer. So we're going to help you write your personal statement today. The way we're going to do that is we're going to use these 4 celebrities and we're going to pretend that they're going to go to uni. And they're going to be writing their statements. We're going to show you good examples. We're going to show you terrible examples. And it's actually an interactive workshop. So we're going to ask you to choose which examples you would want in your personal statement, which one do you think is the better one. And that way, hopefully you'll get a really good idea of how to build a strong personal statement. So hopefully you recognize some of these people. No worries if you don't. We have got Marcus Rashford, incredible footballer and also the free school meals champion. In this scenario, we're pretending that he wants to study a degree in politics because we all think he would make a fantastic politician. We've also got Malala Yousafzai, big hero of mine. She's our education activist. We're saying that she wants to study human rights law, so she's going to be writing a personal statement for that. Then, of course, we have got Nicola Adams, the OBE boxer. She wants to do a degree in dance in our imaginary world. And then, of course, we've got Boris Johnson, the politician, and we're saying he wants to do a theatre performance degree, which he might or might not be quite eligible for. So, Nat, if you want to take this one away. Oh, bear with me.
So a bit about your personal statement. It is only 4,000 characters, which is about 500 words, which is about 47 lines. And it's all about why you've chosen the course you want to do and what's suitable. And we're going to hopefully be able to show you this quick clip of personal statements.
When it comes to personal statement, it should be 2/3 academic and 1/3 non-academic.
Write about what inspired you to want to study this particular subject. Write about what you've seen, what you've read, what experience you have in this particular field, and just show them that you're really passionate about this. It's really good to see that you have a goal that you're working towards, and everything that you're gathering from university and from your external sources, you're going to put towards that goal.
When it comes to non-academic parts, it includes stuff such as sports, if you like traveling, what hobbies do you have?
My personal hobbies are drawing, visiting museums and traveling, but it's important not to just list them, but to talk about why each one is relevant to your course.
Another thing that you should mention is something that stands out that you've done. So for example, it could be Duke of Edinburgh, or have you won any trophies when it comes to football, or when it comes to basketball, or have you performed when you're doing music?
So when you start writing a personal statement, don't overthink it, just write it in your own words.
Don't try to sound like someone you know.
Make sure it's your own work and be original. Make your personal statement simple, not complex, and a pleasure to read.
Get somebody to check your work over. Make sure that you use friends, family, use everyone to proofread it for you.
Be the best version of yourself.
All right, nice ones. That was a video from our wonderful students last year. A bit of a cheesy ending, but it's definitely something that we do say is trying to bring across the best version of yourself.
Can you just ask a quick question? How far have you got with your personal statement? We've just launched a quick poll. If you could just answer those questions.
Thanks, Nat. And do remember, if you do have any questions, Soph and Nikki are behind the scenes ready to answer for you as well. So we've got the results coming in. It's looking pretty even, to be honest. I'll give you a couple more seconds, guys. Please do participate. It's all anonymous. We don't see who's answering. Okay. All right, great. So we've got about 30% for have started their personal statement but need help. 30% haven't started it but want to go to uni this year. So it's on the to-do list, no worries. And about 30% have finished a first draft but want some tips. And a few people have no idea what a statement is. Help, no problem. Hopefully it'll be really clear to you after this. So brilliant, thanks for that, Nat. Awesome. Okay, so let's say you're sitting down and you're writing the first draft of your personal statement. This is what we recommend. It's called a rule of thirds. This on the right hand side, this is an actual student's personal statement. So this is pretty much how many words you need on a page. So it is roughly a page long, just under. We recommend that 2/3 of your personal statement are academic. So that's you talking about your school or your college and your experience there. So the first part of your personal statement should absolutely be you talking about and explaining why you want to study this course. That should be really your first sentence. And this is really important, guys, because we're going to be doing some, as I said, some polls later on asking you what you think. So do pay attention to this because we'll have a couple of trick questions later as well. So yeah, definitely pay attention to this one. The second is how has your experience at school or college prepared you for university? Then you've got talking about your school's sports or school clubs or societies that you've been involved in. And then we're talking about the non-academic stuff. So this is the orange bit. So this is stuff that you've done outside of school or college. So this is work experience or voluntary work that you've done. Obviously, in the past year, you guys have probably been massively limited in what work experience you've been able to do. That's okay. Admissions teams are going to understand that. But just talk if you've done anything like virtual work experience or if you've helped out in any way. Really, really important to draw the skills and experiences that you've gained from that work experience. And then finally, just if there's any other activities you're interested in outside of school or college, any hobbies, any cool things you enjoy doing. And then finally, you've got a concluding statement. This needs to be really, really short. It just wraps up everything you've said. It doesn't need to be too long because obviously you've only got a few words. You don't want to use them all up in your conclusion. Okay, if there's any question on that, please do ask Sophie and Nikki, my colleagues.
So who reads your personal statement? Your personal statement will be read by an admissions tutor at the universities you've applied to. Each set of admissions staff or the admissions tutors will read hundreds of personal statements every day up until the deadline. So it's really important that you make yours really interesting and stand out. When they read it, they're looking for your motivational skills, your potential, and actually you understand what you're looking to study as well. You may not have the relevant experience in that area, but they want to know that you do understand what course it is you're applying for. So they will look through, UCAS have nothing to do with making decisions on applications. UCAS aren't involved at all, but all applications for undergraduate 3-year programs do go through UCAS. So it's really important that you think about what they're going to be reading of your information and that they want to either shortlist you to the next stage or make you an offer.
Awesome, thanks, Nat. Okay, we'll move to the next slide. Okay, cool. So now we're going to break down that structure that we talked about earlier. So the number one thing to talk about, as you'll hopefully remember from that structure slide, is why do you want to study this course? Really should be the first sentence. Your admissions, people who are reading your personal statement, they'll want to know why straight away. So just have a little think about why you want to study the course, jot down some bullet points and then pop it in a sentence. And that really should be your opening to your personal statement. So we're going to look at some examples now with Marcus Rashford. So I'm going to give you example number 1. This is how Marcus has written his opening statement to his personal statement. So in example 1, he's saying, the reason why I want to study for a degree is because of the following reasons. I want to get a higher degree and better qualification. I want to gain more experience and knowledge. I want to improve my political skills and I want to have a good career later. Okay, so that's example number 1. Then we'll look at example number 2. He's saying, I want to study a politics degree because I'm passionate about having a positive impact on people's lives. I'd love to be able to use my degree to affect positive change within our government. So read those two, have a think about what we've said, and then we're going to launch a poll, and it's all anonymous again, and we want to see which one do you think Marcus should start his personal statement with. And we'll give you 10 to 20 seconds to have a read and have a think. And like I said, all anonymous, so go for it. Let's see what we got. Brill, yeah, do give it a go, guys. Have a think. Doesn't matter if you're wrong or right. We're all learning. Brill. Okay, I think most of you have answered now. Brilliant. Okay, so most of you have said number 2, and a couple have said number 1. Number 2 is correct. Well done. And we'll just quickly look at why, so you guys know what to do for yours. So number 2, basically, he's telling us that he's passionate about having a positive impact. So he's telling us a bit about him in the first sentence, and he's telling us how a politics degree is going to help him achieve his passion, basically. So it's really short, really sweet, really simple. Whereas number 1, you might have noticed there's a couple of spelling mistakes. So he's obviously not got anyone to check it, which just shows that he doesn't care maybe as much as number 2 example does. And also he's just kind of listed everything, and he's not really told us anything about himself or what he's going to use this degree for. So if you take one thing from this, just try and think about what you're passionate about, why your degree is going to help you do that, and that should help you. Any questions? Don't forget, the Q&A is there for you guys.
So what about, there's another example here. What work experience or voluntary work experience have you done? Think about, have you done, if you're wanting to be a nurse or a children's nurse maybe, how you maybe babysat children or worked in a summer school, and what you've taught these children, you know, to show your passion maybe, if you want education. Or have you been working virtually, you've been editing videos for friends because it's something you've got an interest in, but now you've thought about it and actually you want to study it. So here's some examples of Nicola Adams' personal statement. This year I took part in a dancing competition where I learned great team working skills, as I had to work with my partner to create new routines every week. Working in this challenging environment and within a close-knit team greatly improved my communication skills. So example number 2, what one of these two things correct? I took part in a dance show and it was hard and grueling and tough, but it went well. I found it joyful and think I would be good. It would be good. I would be good if I learned more about it. So what do you think is correct, guys? Number 1 or number 2? You got the answers, Rosie?
I do indeed, yes. All right, so we've got almost everyone who's put number 1, and one person's put number 2.
Okay. Yeah, see, number 1 is correct. I mean, why would you go with number 1? Looking at number 2, it doesn't make sense, as you heard when I was reading it, actually. But number 1, it gives you much more in-depth information about what she's learned, about her team working skills and all of those sorts of things as well. So, and about the new routines that they created together and they worked on together as part of it. But she also did mention about a challenging environment, but not too much, not like the other one where it was hard and grueling. So just think about the language that you're going to use when writing your personal statement.
It is worth noting that when I was reading students' personal statement last year, they did actually use the word grueling in their personal statement to describe their SASTI job, which it was hard to believe that they had done. So it is actually possible. So you might look at that and think, well, that's ridiculous, but it has happened before. So just be wary that those words don't slip in. All right, cool. So we'll jump into number 3, which is how has your experience at school or college prepared you for university? So this is basically the admissions team want to find out how prepared are you for uni and what have you done in the past that's going to help you at university. So we're going to look at Malala now. So we're going to give 2 examples, same as before. Example number 1, she's done a school campaign for girls to stay in education. So this is what she's going to be talking about here as her experience in school. So she's saying, my school campaign for girls to be in education has prepared me for studying a human rights degree, as it taught me the value of education and the importance of standing up for one's rights. So it's pretty nice. And number 2, when I was at school, I was a passionate advocate for female education. Leading this project gave me the skills, experience and insight I need to study human rights at university and furthered my passion for standing up for one's beliefs. This one's a little trickier, so spend a little bit longer time just reading those 2 and seeing which one you think she should use to talk about her experience at school or college and how it's prepared her for uni. Cool, yeah, keep voting, guys. Okay, I think most of us have voted now. Brilliant. So most of you have said number 2, a small percentage of you have said number 1. That's okay. In this one, there actually isn't any right answer. She could use number 1. The reason why number 2 is stronger and why a lot of you will have picked up on this is because she's really focused on her skills and experience. She uses those buzzwords. So let's pretend you're an admissions team person right now. If you're reading number 2, you get a real sense of who she is, what she stands for, and how what she's done in the past is going to help her for her university. Whereas 1, it's good, but it doesn't really go into how it's given her skills and experience. So again, if you're going to take something away from this, when you're talking about your time at school or college, think about what skills you've gained from certain projects or certain courseworks or certain things you've done, and what that experience has done for you and how it's going to help you when you're at university. Cool. I think we've got a question there for you, Nikki or Sophie.
So are you involved in any sports or clubs or activities? Are you part of the netball team? Maybe you're part of the drama society, or you've got a journalist club, things like that. Those are the sorts of things you need to think about as well, and what to include in your personal statement. So now we're going to look at some examples from Boris. So number 1 is, recently I took part in the school play where I got the chance to experience all aspects of the theatre, from staging to performing. This was an invaluable experience for me as I learned to work as a team to tight deadlines, and we achieved a shared goal. So, or is it number 2? What one do you think is best? At school, I am a performer. I always love a joke with my mates, always entertaining. I'm pretty great at it. I'm fantastic at improvisation. In fact, I don't even need a script. Also, one of the skills is pointing and umming. So what one of these do you think would be good for Boris?
Have a think, vote away. It might be a little bit obvious, this one. By the way, guys, if you are raising your hands, unfortunately, we can't unmute you. So if you do have a question, just pop it in the Q&A. And as I say, my colleagues will get straight back to you. It's an annoying thing about Zoom, unfortunately. All right, so there's definitely a jokes in the group that thinks one person thinks number 2, but the rest are thinking number 1. Natalie,
Perfect. I mean, for number 2, I mean, the reason it is number 1 is, I mean, like, for example, number 2, it says, I am a performer. I always love a joke with my mates. Really? What is that going to tell them about you? Are you a serious person, or are you not a serious person? So, yeah, I mean, that's what I would think. And then also about how you, your chance to experience all aspects of theatre, that would be why you would include number 1 and not number 2.
Yeah, definitely. And just to add that, I think what this example is showing is, like, no matter who you are or no matter what you do, you can always spin it to really showcase skills and experience you've gained. So Boris Johnson's done a school play, and that example number 1 comes off really strong, and you probably would let him into university, even though it's Boris Johnson, or even though it's a play about whoever, whatever it is. It's just really important to never underestimate what you've done in the past at school or college, because you will have gained something from it. So again, have a think about what you've done and how you can sort of really showcase it, basically. So cool, thanks, Nat. Come on my screen, here we go. All right, number 5. Are there any other activities you're interested in outside of school or college? Hopefully there are. Most people enjoy doing something that's a bit different out of school, and it's really important to talk about it. So for example, when I was applying for university, I really loved running, and I had a little running club, and I talked a bit about that, about how it's really motivating and it got me out of bed in the morning, and I met some really cool people and sort of worked on communication skills and goal setting and stuff. Again, it's a really small thing that I did, but I was able to pull out loads of skills from it, basically. So it's all about milking what you've done. Basically, oh, our slide's gone a bit funny. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to look at Marcus again, because we love him. He's great. Example number 1 of him answering this question. He's going to say, I really like helping people. I've taken part in some community projects that made a big difference, which felt really good, and this has helped me to decide that politics is the right career for me. So have a think about if that answers the question that we talked about. Same with number 2. He says, outside of school, I'm a champion for young people. I believe that they should have access to basic necessities such as food and education. Recently, I contacted my local MP, and as a result, we were able to change the policy around free school meals. This has given me further motivation to study a degree in politics. So again, so they're a bit longer. So have a read, have a think, have a vote, all anonymous, give it a go, and we'll talk about the results in a sec. Cool, they're coming in. This is good. All right, lovely. So most of you are saying number 2. A couple are saying number 1. This is really positive for me because this is telling me that you guys are really picking up on some of the language that he's using, and you're thinking like admissions team basically. And that's the kind of mentality you need to have when you're writing and reading over your own personal statement. You've got to think, how is someone else going to read this and perceive this? And you're absolutely right. Number 2 is definitely the stronger one. Again, number 1 isn't bad, but what he does in number 2 is he really elaborates on the experience that he's had, and he goes into much more detail. So we're talking about the same project. Number 1, you know, he's saying he's doing a community project, but number 2, he's talking about the project, but he's saying why he's doing it. He's a champion for young people, and he's saying what happened for doing after he did that project. As a result, the policy around free school meals was changed, and then what all of that whole experience has done, it's given him further motivation to study a degree in politics. So it's a really rounded answer that you guys can take any project or anything that you've done outside of school or college, and you can use, you can apply this, and it'll come out as a really, really strong paragraph. So hopefully that's given you a good idea of how you talk about the same thing, but you can just talk about it a little bit stronger. Cool. All right, finally, the conclusion. Nat, take it away.
Okay, so the conclusion, we've got Nicola Adams here. What one of these concluding statements do you think would be good for Nicola? I believe I would excel as a dance student at university, thanks to my experience in dance competitions, my lifelong passion for being on stage, and my skills as a team player. Or number 2, to conclude, I believe I would be a great dance student because I have danced in lots of competitions before, such as the time when I was on Strictly Come Dancing, where I also had to work in a team as a team player. I also know that I am driven and motivated thanks to my career in competitive boxing, where I have trained 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. What do we think about that? What one would suit Nicola best?
And try to remember what I was saying at the beginning when I was talking about that structure. Have a think. This one normally trips up people. Any more votes, guys? Give it a go. Okay, I think most people have voted. Awesome, so it's almost split. You guys have actually done the best so far when we've done this before. So it's 45% for number 1, 55% for number 2. Yeah, sorry, go for it now.
Okay, well, both of them are not bad statements, but why do you want to conclude with all that lovely information in number 2 right at the end of your personal statement and not put some of that closer to the top of your personal statement, is what I would say is the one to think about. And do you really want to start to conclude as well? You don't really need to start with to conclude.
And I'd add to that, like what Natalie's point, you know, there's such good information about dancing in lots of competition before, but the conclusion isn't where that should go. That should go where you're talking about your activities outside of school or college. Whereas number 1 just wraps up everything really nicely. So the admissions team, again, they're reading this conclusion statement. They're not confused or they're not overwhelmed with info. They're just reading it and go, okay, yep, they want to be a dance student because experience, passion, skills, great. Whereas number 2, they'd be like, whoa, wait, okay, right, rewind. This is loads of new information. What are we talking about here? So hopefully that clarifies for you guys when you're doing your little conclusion statement. Oh, come on, my screen. Sorry, it's frozen. Okay, great. Cool. So how can I prepare myself? So as we've mentioned, obviously, and a couple of questions are coming as well, I've seen, the past year has been mad and completely different to all the other years in terms of being able to do work experience or volunteering. So what we've added this slide in for you guys is what we'd really recommend is having a look around for virtual work experience. There is some going, definitely look on Twitter as well. If you search virtual work experience, organizations and businesses tend to be on Twitter and LinkedIn. So that's where a lot of opportunities are. Nat, I don't know if you want to add to that at all.
Yeah, I was going to say there's quite a lot coming up on LinkedIn at the moment about if you like, if you're a medic, there's a virtual one, and the Sutton Trust also have lots of virtual work experience coming up that people can join as well.
Yeah, exactly. There is stuff going out there. It's just not necessarily very easy or quick to find. It's frustrating. I know how overwhelming, you know, information there can be online, but it's worth having a look and a little dig around. And it also shows that you're motivated and driven to get that virtual work experience if you find it. We also recommend attending lectures. Lots of universities are now doing live virtual lectures, Middlesex University included. We had a really great week-long session just before Christmas. We had lectures about Brexit, about COVID, about maths, about just all these different subjects. So whatever you're interested in, there will be a live lecture, and that will be happening at some point in the next couple of months. So have a look. Wider reading is very impressive if you've got a personal statement coming in that someone's demonstrated that they've researched or done a bit of wider reading around the subject, and volunteering as well. Obviously, lots of volunteers are needed in this really, really difficult time. So if it is possible and if it's safe for you guys to do so, have a look to see what volunteering opportunities there are. We've recommended some websites down there as well. Have a look at theforage.com. They've got some virtual internships and also creative industries mentoring as well. So I'll leave the slide on for a second if you guys want to make a note of those ones.
They will get a copy of the recording afterwards.
Perfect. All right, brilliant.
We've also had some questions from mature students around how they can kind of prepare themselves or what they can write. So actually there's quite a lot of information that you can put into your personal statement. So actually, if you've done any recent study, you can talk about that. Even if it isn't relevant to the field that you're going into, you will have demonstrated some skills that you can pull from that you'll be able to showcase in the university study that you'll be going into. You'll also be able to understand like the time commitments that it's going to take to actually complete a degree. So you can talk about that as well, and also any personal progression that you've had, you know, and actually why are you now deciding that you want to undertake a degree? There's loads of different things that you can talk about, and also as Rosie and Natalie have said, you can watch back lectures, or you actually attend live lectures. There are some work experience opportunities as well for mature students that you can take part in, get involved in your local community. All of that sort of stuff is going to really support your personal statement in a great way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks. So, and just a reminder, if you do have any more specific questions that you want to chat to someone about, the Unibuddy link will be live. It'll be in your email and you'll be able to ask some more questions there on Unibuddy. So I've just seen another question come in. I'll answer this live. How do we join these live lectures? The best way to do is to sign up whichever universities you're interested in, sign up to their mailing list, follow them on social media, and they will be publicizing those events plenty of time ahead. So for example, we've got an open day coming up on the 27th of February, I believe, Natalie, correct me if I'm wrong. And there's lots of sort of live taster sessions there with different lecturers. So if you sign up to our mailing list and our social media, you will definitely get some notifications about those. We'll definitely send you info. So as we've said, we are here to help. Our team usually goes into classrooms and colleges and chats to you guys, and unfortunately we can't. So we're trying to think of different ways to help you. And what we did do is create this virtual workbook. It's called, obviously, Writing Your Personal Statement. If you're really stuck, or if you want to see everything that we've already done today down in this guide, it's there. So it basically asks you all the questions we've asked. It will give you even more pointed, smaller questions. And once you've written all your answers down, that is basically the first draft of your personal statement. It also includes do's and don'ts, top tips, examples as well. So you can download this personal statement pack from our YouTube channel. It's actually on our YouTube. But again, we'll send you the details when we send you an email. So you can find it there. But it's really, really useful to help you just polish your personal statement or write a first draft from scratch. Cool. Okay. Bear with me.
The next slide. Where's the slide? Okay, I was just going to quickly talk about important dates.
Oh,
it is. I don't know where it's gone. What I would say is UCAS is still open for if you haven't applied yet for September 21. The deadline for equal opportunity is the 29th of January, which is next week. So if you're wanting to apply, you can apply then. What I would say to you guys is if you're applying for a really popular course like nursing and midwifery, then you will need to meet that deadline if you're wanting 21 September 21 entry. We are interviewing right now. We have got another workshop after this based on practice for nursing and midwifery students who are coming to interview. So if you want to join our lecturers and admissions tutors, they will be on that chat afterwards. But as my colleague Rosie just said, we've got Unibody open until 6:30 tonight, where we will have admissions staff, international staff, student finance. And if you've got any particular more questions that we've not been able to answer here today about UCAS or personal statement as well.
Yeah, loads of support available. I don't know why that slide's disappeared. Sorry, Nat. I've just had a quick look when it's gone.
Yeah.
Very strange. So we do have a bit of time now that we can try and answer your questions live. We can do that for the next 10 minutes or so. And then we're going to pop off to Unibody and we'll be there as well to chat to you. You can also DM us any questions or DM the lecturers or the experts that are online as well if you've got a personal query. So it's a really fantastic place to get personalised support. So let's have a look. So we've just had a question. This one's for you, Nat. This is your bread and butter. Do you have any extra tips and advice for medicine?
I would say join some live lectures on, there's some really good ones around on Eventbrite or on UK Uni Taster Days. There will be some live lectures about science and maybe medicine, where you'll be able to most probably meet some people. But also we've got an event in March for that's part of the NHS Careers event, which is available on our website, where we will have all of our partners from Barnet NHS, which will include medicine as well. They'll be available there to chat to and find out about work experience locally. But I would go onto your local hospital website to see about volunteering, if there's any virtual events that you may be able to help with or attend for medicine as well right now.
I think there's also a website called the Aspiring Medics that you can go on. If you do a Google search for virtual work experience for your subject area, you'll definitely find some useful information.
Okay, cool. So we've got some more coming in. Hi, could you please recap on mature students? I've recently been in education but left school for an apprenticeship. In further, I've been studying online for a HND, so I'm interested in a business management top-up degree. Could you please provide some tips and advice on what I could include?
As a mature learner, I'm not sure, before you were furloughed, you was obviously working as an apprentice. What did you learn? What did you do while you was doing that apprenticeship? You may not have finished it, but talk about the parts of that apprenticeship that you really enjoyed and what you learned from it.
Yeah,
I would say there.
Yeah, completely. You'll gained lots and lots of skills and experience from that. So it's really important to talk about that and then make it relevant to the degree that you're applying for, which is, I think it says business management. So you can definitely have a look at what you've done in the past and see what's relevant to that degree.
Yeah, and then there's one down here. Would a personal statement be needed for any apprenticeship? I would say any job you're applying for, you are going to need, whether it be a personal statement, it might be a covering letter and a CV. So they are still things that you can prepare for, really, the same as what we're talking about now, but you just put it in a different format. Yeah.
Well, what if I've missed education because of financial difficulties? I think you'd have to be a bit more specific on what you'd missed, what education you've missed for a start, because depending on what degree you're applying for, is obviously depends on what you'll need some grades to go to university with. So yeah, if you could just provide us a little bit more information, that would be great.
If we apply to different courses, is it okay to mix all the experiences into personal statement? You need to be careful about applying for different courses. If they are related or you're applying for a joint honours programme, then yes, you can use your transferable skills in that. You need to think about what it is you're applying for that's different. If you can answer that question, I may be able to answer it differently. I may be able to answer it further.
Yeah. Similar question. So not all universities do specific course. For instance, I want to do English literature and history. I don't know if it's the same person. Not all universities I want to apply to have this course. How would I structure my personal statement? So I can say for this one, something we didn't talk about. So that would be a joint honours degree. So you want to talk about both subjects equally, basically, and it's very similar to what we've said before. You need to make your skills and experience relevant to both subjects. It's slightly trickier, I would say. I studied a joint, I did English literature and drama, and I did a joint honours, and I remember the personal statement, it was a little bit harder because I wanted to write loads about both subjects, and you just got to be a bit smart about it. Choose good examples in your past that are relevant to each subject. But yeah, it's a lot to squeeze in, but structure it the same as we've discussed.
I studied up to A levels due to financial because I could not go to university. Well, if you're now a mature learner and you've studied up to A level and now is your chance to go, you want to go to university, then that's great. Talk about what you've done between studying your A levels and now going to university. Have you been working? Have you been volunteering? Have you brought up a family? Maybe, I don't know. You might have been a carer. All of those sorts of things. Think about what you've learned from all of that experience and how you can include that.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys have any?
Sorry, now it's just worth pointing out that there is loads and loads of information about student finance. Me and Natalie were actually doing a live workshop this morning to students who wanted to learn more about student finance. There is a lot of grants out there. There's a lot of support. There's bursaries, there's scholarships. If you need help with your student finance, you just have to do the research because it's not necessarily always very well advertised, but there is information out there. So what I would recommend you doing is you go to UniBuddy after this chat and chat to someone in student finance for what you might be eligible for, because you might be able to get some extra pennies that will help you study.
Have you just, Rosie, what question? Have you just answered that question?
No, I haven't clicked anything. I've just.
Do you guys have any ideas how Brexit will impact EU students? What I would say to you guys is if you go onto the student finance website, it will have information about EU students and how it will impact student finance this year. And if you're going to be able to, if you're currently studying in the UK and what your fees will be now, it will show you that, and if you're able to apply for a maintenance loan and a tuition fee loan as well. Yeah,
it's something that a lot of people are have been asking us about, and I think it is the information changing.
Okay, I'm going to answer this question. The person that obviously has asked about applying for more than one course, you need to know what type of nursing or midwifery you want to apply for. All three courses, they're very different courses. I wouldn't recommend applying for the three of them. You need to work out what it is you want to work with. Do you want to work with an adult? Do you want to work with a child? Or do you want to work with a well mum that's pregnant? So these are things before you apply, and including your personal statement on what to apply for. I would only recommend applying for one branch of nursing or midwifery. So it's really important that you've done your research about that. Because if you apply for all three of them, there's a chance that university are going to, if you're mentioning all three in your personal statement, then none of them may shortlist you because of that. Yeah. Because they are so popular, and they're looking for people that know exactly what type of nursing or if they want to be a midwife is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is worth noting. It was very interesting last year. There was a real big rise in applications for nursing and midwifery courses, so they are competitive. So like Natalie said, you need to be very sure about what you want to study, and then back that up with skills, experience, evidence that you're passionate about that subject. For sure.
Yeah, so social work you have to apply through UCAS for that course. And regards with the tuition fees, if you go to our student finance on UniBuddy or our admissions team, they'll be able to answer that question for you.
Yeah.
Does caring
for my mother-in-law when she got a stroke count as experience? Depends what you're applying for, I guess. Yeah. If you are applying for obviously an adult nursing degree, I can definitely see how that would be relevant. I've read personal statements where the student was inspired by looking after an elderly relative, and it really made them want to give back. It opened their eyes to the experience. It made them realize that they were very skilled or they had natural abilities in it. And so they did use that as experience. So yeah, I would say if it's relevant to the course you're applying for, definitely talk about it. What do you think, Nat?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. What could you offer as a student to a university? To a student at the university? It's a big question. If you're asking what can we offer students as a university, everything. No, I'll go quickly on this one.
Sorry, it also depends on what type of course you're applying for, what it is you wanted to study. If you go to we do have a wellbeing team. If you go over to Unibody, one of the team there will be able to help you. And there's lots of information about how we support students currently while working virtually and maybe going onto campus or even onto a placement, because some students are still going out onto placement as well right now.
Yeah. I'd add that Middlesex University community is insanely supportive. It's so good, especially during this time. I think it's super important to be connected, to have a university that really encourages you to meet other students, even if it's virtually, to have support services there ready and available to help you study and help you achieve. I think it's very, very key that a university does that, and I think Middlesex University does that very, very well. If you go on our social media channels, you'll get a sense, especially Instagram stories, when the students chat about their life, their studying. It's not all rosy pictures. They admit themselves it's tough studying at the moment, but it'll give you a sense of the community and the support services we have available. Cool. Would we get the chance to still do our desired courses even if we get our predicted grades? As I've missed quite a lot of school, so my grades are below what I would usually achieve. I'm guessing don't get predicted grades.
What will happen is we will, obviously we're not sure what's going to happen this year. We will make a decision on each individual application. We'll be looking at your predicted grades, your reference, along with what your actual grades are on the day. So each person will be looked at individually. So what I would be saying to you right now is continue all the hard work you have. See, because we're not sure how exams are going to happen this year. Exams are not going to be the same as what they were before, but there are some different variations. There is currently a discussion going on with all of the teachers and everyone else of how this is going to happen with the government right now, and that will be announced in the next few weeks. I have a master's overseas experience and I want to go to PGC. How to put my experience from overseas? Well, you need to just ensure that you're putting all your experience down on your application form. But again, with the PGC programs, again, they are very popular, so you do need to apply for them early.
Okay, brilliant. That's the same one. Volunteer primary school. How many number of words should a personal statement have, minimum and maximum?
It's 47 lines, which is 4,000 characters.
So it's about 500 words, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you remember that slide, I can take us to the slide. Hang on. Where would you?
I think nursing. It wouldn't be a master's in children's nursing. It's a BSc children's nursing or medicine. Can I apply for both? Well, medicine, the deadline is pretty much gone for that already. If you're wanting to apply for children's nursing, then you can apply for children's nursing, but you'll be a nurse. Medicine and nursing are two different programs. Children's nursing is a 3-year program. Medicine is a 5-year program.
Yeah.
Again, you just need to make sure you've done your experience and you've got the right relevant grades to be able to study medicine if that's what you want to do. What should I write? It depends on what it is. They will have the same UCAS code, course code. It just depends on what it is, from what type of course it is you're applying for.
We've got a couple more minutes for some questions.
I need to leave now. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no worries. So Natalie's got to go and do another workshop in 10 minutes. So she's going to go. A couple more. We've got 2 more minutes. If you've got any more questions, pop them here. If not, I really recommend you guys going to Unibody. Like I said, there's a whole team. There's like 15, 20 of us ready to answer your questions. So thanks, Nats. Good luck with your next workshop.
Good luck to everybody with their personal statement. Goodbye. Thanks.
See you later, Nat. Okay, so I've got one more question. have experience from outside the UK working as an apprentice in a lab. Should I include it when applying to study midwifery? Yes, I would. Just because it's outside the UK doesn't mean it's not valid at all. Just think about what skills you learn as an apprentice in the lab, and what experience you gain from it. And if you can as well, just add how it might have further motivated you to study midwifery. And then that way you've really milked that experience as much as you can, basically. So
I'm also going to leave, but wishing everyone the best with their personal statement. If anyone is interested in art, design or fashion, we've got a portfolio workshop at 5, which I will be hosting. So hopefully see some of you there. Best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sophie. Cheers. Thanks for your help. Cool. All right. If there's no more questions, I'll give you a tiny bit more time. But if not, thank you so much for joining us. It's always lovely when we get lots of questions, because it's nice to know that you guys are there. It's always very strange presenting when we can't see you. So I hope you have enjoyed this and got something out of it. Do please join us on Unibuddy live chat. Head back to the email that you clicked on to get the link to this, and you'll find the Unibuddy link, and we'll be there to answer your questions. So nothing's come through, so I think we'll end it there. But thank you very much, as I said, and best of luck with your personal statements. Fingers crossed, and stay safe and stay well. All right, thanks, guys.
Good luck, everyone. Thank you.